Curious how you could help improve the health and well-being of your staff? Get insights, cost savings opportunities, and disease prevention at your fingertips with Springbuck Health Data Analytics. Learn more at springbuck.com.
Snarfing down 76 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes? No problem for world-famous champion competitive eater Joey Chestnut. Doesn't matter if it's pizza, hot dogs, cheese balls, or deep-fried asparagus. Joey Chestnut can gobble it down in a flash. And he's also developed an appetite for Hoosier cuisine.
I'm at Shapiro's Delicatessen. I'm here at Noblesville, Indiana at Best Bet. I'm going to take on their Best Bet All-In Challenge or something like that. We'll see. And it looks like it has some eggs, some taters, fried taters, vegetables, good breakfast stuff.
Joey Chestnut has one bowl down already. They're going to attempt to eat 100 bowls of St. Elmo's shrimp cocktail in 20 minutes.
Joey Chestnut, world record holder, internationally recognized food eating champion, who now calls Indiana home. Learn what brought him here on this week's edition of the Business and Beyond podcast. Hello and welcome to the Business and Beyond podcast presented by PNC. I'm Gary Dick. Well, what can you do in 10 minutes? Unload the dishwasher, fold a load of laundry? Well, Joey Chestnut can put more than 7 packs of hot dogs along with the buns in his belly in that amount of time. Or how about throwing down 16 pounds of pumpkin pie in just 8 minutes? Chestnut grew up a West Coast guy, spent his childhood in the San Francisco Bay Area. He graduated from San Jose State University, where he earned a degree in civil engineering. Competitive eating was never really in the cards until about 15 years ago, when his brother signed him up for the famous Nathan's 4th of July International Hot Dog Eating Contest in New York. Since then, Chestnut has gone on to win 14 Nathan's championships, set world records in eating everything from pizza to hamburgers to St. Elmo's shrimp. And what you may not know about Joey Chestnut, he now calls Indiana home. He moved to Westfield in April, and I'm pleased to welcome to the podcast, Joey Chestnut. Joey, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you're a busy guy. We'll get to that in a minute, but I'm really interested in your move here because I thought I had heard that maybe earlier, but a lot of folks may not know that you actually live here. You're a West Coast guy. What prompted the move here?
Oh, a bunch of things. I have some friends here, and I started doing the St. Elmo Shrimp Cocktail Contest, I think 8 or 9 years ago. And every time I'd come to Indiana, I'd end up staying a little bit longer and just have a good time. And it was, it just felt natural. And yeah. I liked the area. So, and I was ready to sell my house in San Jose, and I was ready for a little change. And it felt right.
Yeah. So really, I guess you could do what you do from about anywhere, right? As long as you've got a good airport that you can get to where you need to be.
Absolutely. And you guys, Indianapolis has a beautiful airport. It's so fast. And I can go anywhere in the country real quick and then come back home, and the car's safe, and it's a great airport and great city.
Yeah. Okay. We're taping this podcast just a few days before the Big Ten football championship at Lucas Oil Stadium. And of course, as part of that and the pregame festivities, which is always a great atmosphere in downtown Indianapolis, you're going to be in a contest. It's St. Elmo shrimp, right?
Yeah. Their shrimp cocktail with the spicy cocktail sauce.
And this year, you've done this for a number of years, but this year got a lot of competition. Tell me about that.
It's not going to be an easy contest. Jeff Esper, he's the guy who I think 3 years ago he came in second. He's hungry. He actually beat me in a pizza eating contest 3 weeks ago, and I can't be lazy. So it's going to be a tight contest, and I just gotta don't let the spiciness bother me, and just gotta find my happy place and keep eating.
Okay, now is the cocktail sauce, is that full strength?
I think they actually tone it down just a little bit, but it's still a lot of horseradish, it's like even if it's not the spiciest, I'm hitting that spice again and again and again. I remember the first year I did the contest, I rubbed my eyes and my eyes were burning. And this contest has it's a different animal altogether. It's just with that cocktail sauce, and then we're out in the cold and eating cold shrimp. My hands are going to be numb towards the end of the contest. It's a special contest.
Yeah, well, as you say, even toning down the sauce just a little bit, that's still very strong stuff. What was it like that first time as you began to practice for the contest? Did you ever had to deal with the heat, the spice as much as in with the St. Elmo?
I was in shock. Yeah, the first time I had that horseradish explosion. It's not like a pepper spice. It's almost like it's weird. The way it hits you so hard, and then it goes away, and then you wonder, was I exaggerating? Was I just being a baby? And then you try it again. I was like, and it still makes you cry again. And during the contest, it's going to slow me down in the beginning, and then hopefully I can just learn to deal with it, and I'll just cry throughout the contest and keep going.
How do you prepare? So you're a couple of days, I guess 3 or 4 days out now from that event. What's your routine as you get ready for an event like that?
Yeah. So actually today's Tuesday. I'm going to do a little bit of practice with the real sauce and the shrimp. Usually I always try to practice with the food, and then it's recovery. I recover from my practice, and then go into the actual contest empty and loose. I stop eating for about a day and a half before the contest, and I go in and I'm drink lots of liquids beforehand. Make sure when I suck in my stomach the day of the contest, that I can actually see, like, all right, there's a reason I'm empty, and I can have a reason to eat 15 pounds, 16 pounds of food.
Yeah. Did nerves come into play? I mean, kind of like an athlete before an event. I mean, it's competitive, obviously, and you've got that guy you're facing who's beaten you recently. So you got to, there's got to be some emotional prep.
Oh, there's definitely nerves coming into play. I always get kind of nervous, which is kind of good. I get excited, and it makes my heart beat. It makes me sweat a little bit, and I love it. I love the whole competition aspect. I'm eating on stage, it's weird to get on stage and eat in front of people, and they're yelling at you to keep eating, and it's something I fell in love with, and it amps me up. I get excited, and the day of the contest, I'm willing to push myself really, really hard.
Yeah. How did it all start? As I mentioned in the intro, your brother got you started in that, right?
Yeah, it wasn't my idea at all. I was kind of a shy guy. I knew I was the biggest eater in the family. Everybody in the family knew I was like, they would like stay away, like, don't let him eat first, because we might not get fed. And my little brother, I remember he signed me up to like 3 contests, and finally the third contest, the organizer called him up and said, if you actually go to the contest, we'll give you a free hotel room. And it was at a casino, and I was 21 years old, and so I was like, I can't turn it down. I got to do it. And as soon as I got on stage and started eating against these guys, I knew I was made for it. And it was like, never in my life have I felt so made for something. And it just like, it changed everything. And I finished my engineering degree, and I became a weekend warrior. I'd travel on the weekends after work, and then go back to work on Monday. And then eventually the eating got big enough where I made it my jobby job. Yeah.
I don't know if you want to share this or not, but how much money can you make in the competitive eating world?
It fluctuates a little bit year to year, but I have some long-term deals with Nathan's, and I remember it's been for a long time. I've been over 200 a year for a long time, and but there's still some fluctuations up, and there's good years, and COVID slowed things down a little bit, but I've been really lucky with with Nathan's and Hooters and these great companies that they for some reason they like me and I like them.
Yeah. Well, you get a lot, I think many people associate you with hot dogs and the Nathan's competition, but give us an idea, because you have done the competitive eating thing across so many genres, if you will, of food. Talk about some of the different contests you've been in over time.
Oh my God. Everything hard-boiled eggs. I remember I did 141 hard-boiled eggs in 8 minutes. Twinkies, 121 Twinkies in 8 minutes. There's been, I did deep fried asparagus. I think I did 13 pounds of deep fried asparagus, which is actually delicious. They put some Parmesan cheese on top. It was one of the tastiest contests there is. Ribs. I did 13 pounds of rib meat. And another really tasty contest. A couple times, a lot of wing contests I've done. I've done like 176 wings in 12 minutes. And the wings are fun if they're cooked right. It's a fun contest.
Do you have a favorite food?
I think my favorite contest is hot dogs. Fourth of July. The atmosphere is insane, and it's almost, I get goosebumps thinking about it, and I'm willing to push myself so hard, and the crowd won't let me slow down. So I love. It's weird because naturally I'm a really shy guy, but in these contests I feed off the energy of the crowd and the audience, and they really push me.
Yeah. What all the contests you've been in? I mean, is there one moment, kind of the weirdest thing that's ever happened in one of these contests?
Oh my God! There's just narrowing all of them down to one,
or maybe a couple.
There's been some wild ones. I remember my last time going against Kobayashi. We were in Singapore eating against each other, and the contest was set up beautiful. We were eating shrimp wonton, and he started out early, and they had these digital counters where everybody could see exactly what number we were on, and the people were cheering so loud, they were so happy for him that he was winning. And then towards the end of the contest, I got ahead of him, and then the crowd got so quiet. And they were very polite. They didn't boo me, but they were they weren't happy. And it was usually I'm always like, people are so cheering for me to eat more. It was like one of the few times that they weren't happy that I was eating more.
That's great. And you mentioned Singapore. You traveled the world on the competitive circuit, right?
Oh yeah, I've been really lucky. Singapore, Australia, France, and Thailand, China. It's been a while, and it makes sense because everybody loves to eat, and that feeling of full is something. It sucks that in this world that some people can't feel it, and I think it's a good thing that we a lot of these contests they're associated with charities, and it's a weird universal thing. Everybody loves to eat, and it's very natural to want to push it to the limit.
Yeah. Do you have a career span? I mean, is there so long that you're going to be able to do this?
Until the wheels fall off. No, I never imagined doing it as long as I have. I'm 38 now, and I'm still pretty healthy. I'm a little bit chubby, but as long as my doctor says I'm healthy, and as long as I'm still having fun, I'm going to be doing it.
So no health issues, because you say a little bit chubby. You look completely normal. I mean, people would think that someone who does what you do would weigh 500 pounds.
It would be really easy for me to gain weight, and I do gain weight. But once I start gaining weight, then I start losing. That pizza contest I lost a couple of weeks ago, I was kicking myself in the butt because I went into it a little bit heavy, and I was like, I really didn't earn the victory. And any kind of physical activity, the healthier you are, the harder you can push your body. So it's a weird double-edged sword. You have to love to eat and be able to eat a lot. But if you eat too much, then you're not going to be the fastest in that 10-minute contest. So it's a battle. And usually I eat healthy during the week, and on the weekends are my reward days or their contest days.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have a lot more with Joey Chestnut. Talk about the early days growing up out on the West Coast, college, and maybe what's next too. That's when the Business and Beyond podcast returns.
Imagine a world where every healthcare and benefits program decision is backed and guided by data. Springbuck is the health data analytics solution that equips you with the insights and expertise you need to sharpen your benefits strategy, advance employee health, and contain costs. Springbuck, a world of actionable health intelligence insight at your fingertips. Visit springbuck.com to learn more.
Welcome back to the Business and Beyond podcast presented by PNC. My guest this week is Joey Chestnut, Joey Jaws, or just Jaws, the world famous competitive eater who now is a Hoosier resident living in Westfield. Hey, Joey, you moved here to Indiana, but you were a West Coast guy. You grew up in the Bay Area out in San Francisco. Talk about growing up, what growing up in San Francisco was like for you.
No, I wasn't really San Francisco. It was the Bay Area.
Okay.
And it was a little town, big family, 6 kids in the family. And my mom would cook dinner every night. And all the brothers knew that I was the biggest eater. And it was great. And over the years, I went to school in San Jose, and I stayed there for a long time. But I've had the pleasure to travel around the whole country. And so I fell in love with Indiana.
You got a civil engineering degree, so you had an aptitude for studies, for academics. Did you enjoy sports, play sports growing up? What did you do in your spare time?
Growing up, my dad's a music teacher. So even though we all played baseball in Little League, once we went to high school, we all had, all the kids in the family, we had to join the marching band. And which was all right. Marching band's great. But I ended up being first chair trumpet, and I was a band nerd.
That's good. Which is
all right.
San Jose State. So was it just a natural you were going to go close by to San Jose State, or did you think you were going to go somewhere else?
It was weird. I had a sister that went to San Jose State. My dad graduated San Jose State for teaching, and it's what I knew. And I was always pretty good with numbers, and I like solving problems. There's a good feeling about a long math problem or an engineering problem, and just getting to that final answer. And it's like, all right, let's check it, see if you're right. And I enjoy that.
Yeah. So you graduated, you started your career out there. You didn't do the competitive eating right away. What'd you get into?
So I worked in construction management for a general contractor. And I loved it. Worked on construction projects. We were in public works. The last project I worked on was a library. Before that was a fire station, and it was good stuff. It's great to be a part of a group of people who are building something that no one person could do. But it was real work. Lots of nasty emails and arguing over change orders. But
yeah.
And once I started doing the competitive eating, it was like, I can't believe I'm getting paid for this.
What about, so you've moved obviously here to the Midwest, to Indiana. How does Midwest life compare to life in the Bay Area, to life on the West Coast? A lot of people would think there's a stark difference. Is there much difference in your view?
I've always been a believer. Everything's what you make of it. And but there are a little difference. I mean, the weather's clearly different, and I think I don't know. Cost of living is less, but that really doesn't make. I think the biggest difference is the cost of living, because it's a little bit less. People aren't wound up so tight. People are able to spend money going out to eat. In Indiana, in California, I just don't think that people are spending their social life is lacking, because people aren't social in general, because they're working so hard to live there.
Yeah. Do you think you read a lot, see a lot, I hear a fair amount in this, with COVID and working remotely, it's really shining a light on the fact that a lot of people can do what they do from anywhere. I mean, you're an example there, but do you see the opportunity or the prospect for a lot of people from the coast, be it the West Coast, the East Coast, some of the higher cost areas, saying, you know what, I think I want to, whatever, I want a better quality of life, raise a family, whatever it might be. And they're more and more going to move to the Midwest.
I think people are going to analyze the situation, their own situation. Like me, I was living in San Jose, and which is like it's a nice area, but it's really expensive. And it's not like I worked for a tech company that was based out of there. And I was like, all right, well, I love Indiana. It actually helps me work more because it's center of the country, it has a great airport, and it allows me to do more of what I love. And so I think people are going to just look at their situation, and some people are their work, if they're tied to a company, that it's going to be harder for them to move. But I think, yeah, the whole COVID situation, it has changed. That people are more willing to take a chance. Yeah. I mean, we were forced to sit at home, and so I mean, people are going to be more willing to do something a little different.
Strategically, as you look going forward, as you look at competition, how do you look at that? As you look at competitions, you got hot dog, pizza, whatever the case might be. How do you map out your year? Is that what?
Oh yeah, and there's always conversations with sponsors and what a future sponsor wants to do for an event, and whether they want a full-on contest or an exhibition where I'm just eating against myself or just trying to make a record. But I still love the contest. I love the competition aspect. It gives me, eating against somebody really makes me work harder. Yeah, so I map out like you said, map out the year and talk with the sponsors and try to make sure that I'm not overwhelmed. Some years when I was younger, I tried to do a contest every weekend, and that's when I started gaining a lot of weight during the summer. I would put on 35 pounds during the summer, and no matter how healthy I was eating during the week, if I was doing a contest every weekend, weight was going up.
Yeah, well, and you exercise, right? You like to run.
Oh, I used to run a lot more. Now I'm doing a lot more Peloton, and it's still I'm pretty good about counting the calories during the week. But it's getting older. I'm 38 now, so it's a lot easier to gain weight than it is lose it.
Yeah, and I've got to imagine kind of the dynamics when it comes to television and the multitude of opportunities and the channels out there, and then social media, the competitive eating game, if you will. The ability to get exposure is a lot greater than it would have been, a number of years ago. It kind of made for TV events and all kinds of things like that. Yeah,
it's changed. The weirdest avenues are the social media has picked up so much, and whether it's TikTok, for some reason I started making TikTok videos this year, and I have a following of over 1 million people.
Wow,
it's silly. And or I go on to somebody's YouTube channel, and his video has more than 100 million views. It's like of me eating pizza. So the social media thing it's the audiences that some people can possess. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. As you look going forward, what's next for Joey Chestnut? You say you've got you don't see slowing down or retiring anytime soon, but what's kind of your long-term goals?
Oh, long-term, I got a bunch of things that I still love. I still got the contest, but I actually developed some condiment line. I have a mustard and coney sauce and a bunch of 4 different wing sauces, and that's been fun. And being able to experiment develop the food, develop the sauces, and come up with recipes and talk to other people who are trying them and making their own recipes with the sauces. So that's been a lot of fun, and it's been a little bit. It's actually I put on a couple pounds eating, but eating a little bit more. But it's actually worth it.
Yeah. I was going to ask you. I'm glad you brought that up. I wanted to ask you about your food and sauce lines. Those the kind of the business side of things, which I assume is probably getting to be pretty substantial. You've got a great brand. You've got name recognition. How much does that play into the sales number?
It's been I've been really lucky with name recognition and helping to get into the supermarkets. The Kroger's been awesome. I think we're in almost 1,000 Kroger supermarkets, and in Meijer, it's been great. And then the people who like, for some reason, people who like me like to eat. I guess it goes hand in hand, and they it just relates well, and people are willing to try something new.
Yeah. Do you get recognized? I would imagine you probably do from time to time out in public, because you are recognizable. How does that go?
It's always the nicest people. And people recognize me. That sometimes they're drinking. They're like, "Oh, did I go to high school with them?" And then all of a sudden they really hits them. Like, "Oh my God, with hot dogs 4th of July," and it always feels really good. Like I said, I used to have a real job in construction management where I was arguing over change orders, and people were like, the contractor would want to change, and I'm like, "No, that's in your contract." And I was not making people happy, and nobody wanted my autograph. And to be able to take a picture with somebody and talk about food and make them happy is awesome.
Yeah. So Kobayashi, is he the guy? Is he your main rival now, or are there others?
Yeah, it's been a while since me and him competed. I want to say a decade.
Really? That long?
He had a falling out with Major League Eating, and then he doesn't like me. He doesn't like losing. So we haven't eaten against each other in a long time. I wish we could bury the hatchet, because it would be fun to compete against him, and it would. There's nothing better than beating somebody who doesn't like that gets mad.
It gets mad about it. Yeah, right.
Oh, it sucks sometimes. I go to these contests and people are accepting losing. I was like, oh, it's not even fun.
That's great. Joey Chestnut, it's been a real treat, a real pleasure to chat with you on the podcast this week. I know you've got a big competition coming up. A lot of people get excited about it around here, around Big Ten football championship time. So good luck with the competition. I know I'll be watching, and I think a lot of others will as well. So good luck, not only this weekend, but going forward as well.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here in Indiana.
All right. That's Hoosier Joey Chestnut, Joey Jaws, the competitive eater, and a worldwide brand indeed. And thank you for joining us on this edition of the Business and Beyond podcast presented by PNC. It is a weekly conversation with achievers in business, sports, entertainment, and beyond. And you can listen to all of our episodes. All you have to do is go to InsideIndianaBusiness.com and click on the subscribe tab. I'm Gary Dick. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.